Raise your standards. Have high standards and expectations of yourself and everyone around you. Level Up Protocol, I'm Trilla D here. This is where we help people be their best self, help people level up who are trying to level up, or just trying to become better people day by day, basically. That's the moral of this story here. So this video is about raising your standards. Now, me, myself, I've always had high standards and expectations of myself and of everyone around me. If I'm stagnant, if I'm not growing, whether it's financially or in a health aspect or just moving closer to goals I have, it irks me. It really bothers me. It really bothers me. And anyone who's friends with me, they know this, that they'll see me, things will all be going good. It's not that I'm not satisfied with where I'm at or not grateful for what I have, because I'm extremely grateful for everything I have. But I always have the hunger for more. The hunger for more never goes away from me. Now, example of this is I was hanging out with one of my friends and I was telling him that there's only a certain type of woman that I'm trying to be with at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I am holding myself to a very high standard, and certain girls that may just be, trying to talk to me or whatever, this and that, I'm not even engaging in that because I'm holding my standards high. And he was just saying that, sometimes sex is sex and a guy gets horny and you just have to have sex, just to get it off. And for me, that was just very not vibrating on a higher frequency. Like, that's not no level up shit. That's not no king shit. That's kind of some simple man, simple pleasure type of thing, right? It made me think, what kind of standard do you hold yourself to? Like, what if one of these girls that you're just hooking up with just to get a hookup with that is not attractive, or maybe she's like a 4 or a 3. What if you're out somewhere and a beautiful girl who maybe see your social media and is curious about you sees you with that girl? Now you're screwed. Now your whole image and your whole standard is being shown, and she's not going to want anything to do with you. She's going to be like, I'm a high value woman and he's with just whoever he can get with. So why would I jump in line with that standard of what's going on there? Another example of this is even with your job or whatever. This is what I mean by raise your standards and expectations. So if you have a decent job or not good job, you're making not enough money, but you're telling yourself, listen, I got food, I got shelter, I'm good to go. You have to raise your standards. You have to have a hunger for more. You have to think, how could I get a penthouse condo? Or how could I get a super nice car? Because I want those things, I deserve those things, so I need to higher my standards. And what does that mean? It has like a ripple effect almost. You're like, I want a better situation financially, so I have to get a better job, and I have to level up to get a better job, whether it's apply for better positions or put in more work at your job so you can try to go up in positions, you know what I mean? And put in more discipline and sacrifice, or maybe take a risk and start your own business, or maybe quit your job altogether and get another job that is more work but it'll pay you more. But you have to have these standards and expectations from yourself. Now, I've been reading this book here, The Expectation Effect by David Robson. It's an amazing book. It talks about the differences between pseudoscience and just positivity, like saying, think rich, positively think that you're going to be rich. I mean, you could think that every single day, but money is not going to fall on your lap. Like, no amount of inspirational thinking or quotes or anything is going to match you getting off your ass and actually doing the work that has to be done. Nothing is going to match that. So you can think as positively as you want, but if you're not being proactive and actually making things happen in your life, nothing's ever going to happen. And you're going to end up even more frustrated than before you started thinking positive. So I want to draw the clear line here between thinking positive and having expectations and standards of yourself that you hold yourself accountable to and actually work towards. So another standard and expectation, or even with health and how your body looks. When I was, say, 6-7 months ago, before I really started working out, I still had a decent frame. I looked kind of muscular, but I just had a belly on me. And my guy friends and girls would say the same thing. They're like, oh, you're in good shape. You're still in good shape. But it's like, no, I'm not. I'm actually not in good shape because I hold myself to a higher standard. And that holding myself to a higher standard is what inspired and motivated me to get in the gym and work out and change up my diet and really put in that work until I looked away where I'm satisfied with myself. And I have this conversation with people all the time about health and diet and this stuff. And they'll say, oh, I just love eating. I love eating. That's their standard. They say, listen, I don't care about how I look. I love eating. But then at the end of the day, when they're looking at themselves in the mirror, they're not happy with how they look. So really, they do have a standard and an expectation of themselves, but they're not holding themselves to that, and they're not holding themselves accountable. Doing that, like having a standard and not actually chasing it, or expectations and not actually going after it, is a straight path to depression and sadness and all those type of feelings. So I'm not going to make this video too long, but all I'm telling you people out there is to hold yourself to a higher standard. Expect more from yourself. We're all marvelous creatures. Human beings are capable of doing anything we put our minds to. It takes hard work, it takes discipline, but anybody can do it if you just have a higher standard. If you think you have a little bit and that's enough for you, then that's all your life is going to be. But if you start expecting more from life, I'm telling you, the ripple effect will happen and you'll start making steps towards getting towards these things. It's going to take a lot of work. I'm not here to tell you you can just expect it and it's going to come, but it's the first step is to expect that from yourself. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Now, that book I was reading, it actually says how your expectations can help or they can hurt you. How I'm telling you guys to raise your expectations and your standards, it can harm you in the same way too. If you expect, like, oh, I'm always the type of person who gets sick. As soon as winter comes, I get sick. That's an expectation that you're having. And most of the time, that's going to be delivered. Your brain is going to make it real. It's almost like a placebo effect in a way. There is a sweet space between just brainlessly thinking positive and having high expectations of yourself. So that's all I got for this one. It's a short video, but I want you all to hold yourself to a higher standard. I want you to expect greatness from yourself. If you expect greatness, you will become great. If you expect mediocrity, you will be mediocre. And if you expect nothing, you will be nothing. So it's up to you guys. Make the decision. Level Up Protocol. I'm Trilla D, and that's it for this one.